Greetings, fellow citizens of Disneyland. Bricky here today on a broken down omnibus stuck and stranded in the middle of Main Street, USA. Let me explain how we got here. Friends, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to show you another one of my favorite secret buildings of Disneyland. And I also want to explain to you how it was that I fell in love with this park as a designer and an illustrator and an enthusiast about model trains. Yeah. Oh, it is so tempting to get on the Disneyland Railroad, but stay focused, Bricky. So when I first started coming to the park over a decade ago, I would come here sometimes and not worry about riding rides or eating new foods, or I don't collect any merchandise whatsoever. I came here and I would come on these missions, blessed by being an annual pass holder and living just 13 miles away. I would come here on these missions just to discover the park, just to walk along the outer edge of a perimeter, just to stare at every little detail and try to understand what this masterful design trick in front of me actually was. And in many ways, that's what inspired this channel. So one day I was doing what I often do. I was standing here staring out at Sleeping Beauty Castle, looking over Walt's original Magic Kingdom. Because standing up on the Main Street train station is the best way to look out over Walt's creation and just see people living inside the small city of Disneyland. And I typically end every single visit standing up here on the deck, looking out on the park for at least 5 or 10 minutes. And as I've become a YouTuber and I come in here a lot of times to work, I make sure to always spend 10, 15 minutes up here, just remembering why I come here, why I do this. God knows it hasn't gone very well. But it's a reminder of how much I love this place. And one day when I was standing right here, I noticed something over on the distance. And I said, what is that? And when I stared at what is that, it was this right here that caught my attention. Because I know what everything else in Town Square is, but I thought to myself, what are those buildings? How do I find those? How do I get to those? Because that's not part of any bit of Main Street USA that I experienced so many different times. This, my friends, is the inquisitive nature of falling in love with the architecture and design of Disneyland, because I had to know, where are these buildings? Where is this section of Main Street? Because as we all know, Liberty Square was never built. Back there is where the parade goes every day after the first parade comes out and the second one pulls out. I had to know, what are these buildings that I'm seeing? Because this is not a part of Main Street USA that I've ever been able to experience. And truth be told, when I started falling in love with Disneyland and I started coming to the park, it was this type of inquisitive research that I wanted to know more about Disneyland. Like, what is this over here? How do I get to it? It blew my mind. And I love coming here and unlocking these quests. And I hope that you enjoy that I unlock these quests over on YouTube for you to experience with me, because I've come to understand many of you don't have the luxury as coming to the park as often as I do. So it's always an honor to take you into this bizarre way to enjoy the park. So let's discover the secret buildings of Main Street USA. I love it. So Main Street USA is beyond a doubt my favorite land inside of Disneyland. It's the most historic. It has the most amount of like secrets, design techniques, history in it. Like it is just, the more that I learned about Main Street USA, the more I fell in love with Disneyland. And one of these days, I really need to make a video where I just give you a complete tour to Main Street USA, because I have friends that come in from out of town and I'll walk them from the front gate to the hub, showing them how the whole thing works, how it was built, all the different design techniques, and it always just makes people love the park a little bit more. So yeah, gotta put that one on the list. Comment below if you'd want me to make it sooner than later. But like when we did this same technique with the secret building of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, the closer we got to that building, the more it disappeared. And when I first came over here to where the parade exits and enters, I'm like, where did those buildings go? Because as you can see over here where they now do meet and greet photo ops, and they also have an exit when the park gets really, really busy, you cannot see those buildings whatsoever. And by the way, if you want to see the plans that they once had for this area, make sure to check out my Liberty Street video where I show you what Disneyland would be like if Liberty Street was made here in Disneyland using the replica created out at Walt Disney World. So then obviously there were no sign of the buildings where I thought they were, which is how the magic works. I had to go deeper into the park. I had to set out on discovery. And if Disneyland's about anything, it's about creating design discovery where people feel like there's a little more adventure, there's a little more story just around the bend. And that's why there are so many bends in the road. And that's another video we're gonna make sometime soon too. So then when I came over to Main Street USA to find the hidden buildings of Main Street USA, I could not see them anywhere, which just kept my imagination going and going. Where are these things? How could I see them over on the Main Street train station, but not actually see them from inside the land? And as I came into here, obviously the awesome facades kept me from seeing the buildings that I was in search for. I was just cruising through trying to figure out, where are they? Where did they go? And this is one of the greatest Disneyland design details of all time. But we'll save this for the complete tour to Main Street USA. Focus, Bricky. Where are those buildings? Not finding them on the first block of Main Street USA. I didn't give up. You never give up. It just forced me to go deeper and deeper into the park, trying to understand where are the hidden buildings of Main Street USA. And one of the great things about loving the park like I do, and I'm sure that you do, is this level of adventure is always here if you seek it. You never have to come to the park and have the exact same experience of riding the same rides, eating at the same restaurant. Like, there's a level of adventure here. You just have to be creative and adventurous enough to take Disney up on the challenge. So then I worked my way over to what has become one of my favorite parts of Main Street USA. If you go beyond the Disney Baby Care Center, over here where the brand new Make-A-Wish windows have just been installed. And by the way, I learned yesterday that they had the family of the first boy who ever was a part of the Make-A-Wish program. But the entire Make-A-Wish program was designed after this boy and him making a wish. And do you know what the first wish ever in the history of thousands and thousands of wishes was? A little boy wanted to go to Disneyland. And that gets me, man. That gets me that there's just kids all around the world that want to come here, because I was once one of those kids. What the duck, man? Do you know where these buildings are at? You live here. You're a resident. You're an Anaheim duck. You know where I can find the hidden buildings of Disneyland? Oh, you're not going to talk? That whole cast member never gives away the secrets vibe? All right. I'll be keeping my eyes on you. I can see why you don't have a partner. So when I came over here, I could see just a little bit of those buildings through the lattice. I could see the salmon-y color building and a little bit of the one over next to it. But I thought, surely that can't be our only view. There has to be more to viewing these buildings than this one little slight view through the lattice, which is pretty hard to see through the camera, but I can kind of see it with my own eye. Back going deeper and deeper inside the park, trying to find where these buildings were. Which brought me over to the Plaza Inn, which is where it's like, okay, this is where Main Street ends. If I can't see the hidden buildings here, I don't know if I'll be able to see them anywhere. But of course, as anybody with an imagination, I didn't give up. And this time, my tenacity was rewarded. Because what do we see right there? A little bit of one of these hidden buildings. Along the top, we can see the scalloped edge. We can see sort of Victorian framed out vent there in the center of it. And we can see the other building to the left. And here they are, perfectly framing out the back end of the Plaza Inn, where you can see the building that has the scalloped edge. You can see the second building that's recessed back. It has its windows with, once again, the Victorian trim. And then you can see off to the far right, there's a little bit of that salmon-y building with its column there on the end with the little sphere on top. But here it is. We can see this hidden building right here, which, what does that do? It creates more Main Street USA along the outer edge of Main Street USA at the Plaza Inn. So try not to film the restroom because that's rude. You get the idea that it shows us that Main Street goes on just a little bit further. So I thought I was in luck. I talked to these kind cast members that are operating the Omnibus because I thought I could get up on the top of the Omnibus and maybe get a little bit of a better shot into today's subject matter, but it's actually broken down. The starter went out.
The stairs on safety fix.
All right. So I told the kind cast members what exactly my mission was, and they allowed me to come up here and to do it. So super nice guys. So I am on a broken down Omnibus, which is amazing. So as I was explaining to them my mission, they go, yeah, that's the back of Star Tours. And it absolutely is. And this tree right here is so big to block to all of us the scene of where tomorrow begins and yesterday ends. They knew they had to make that exterior facade look more like Main Street and not like Tomorrowland, or it would break the illusion. And if it was just a generic warehouse, that too would break the illusion of Walt's Main Street, USA. The most perfect land in any Disney park. And hey, this is why I love Disney cast members, because they are amazing, amazing folks to do stuff like this. Today's video is all about side quest and how my love of the park and discovering all the little details made me love it more. And then I meet these two as I'm getting off my broken chariot. And what are you guys doing here today?
We're doing a side quest day. All the small stuff that we don't normally get to do. We're annual pass holders and we do get to go to the park. This is my 5th time of the year and I'm grateful for it. But we always pass by the small stuff, all the stuff that we take for granted. And today was just pick it all up and try it out.
My heart hurts. My heart hurts for these young lovers doing the small stuff. It's all about the small stuff, guys. Because here's the vibe. If you do the small stuff, you can have an entirely new adventure.
Yes.
The rides are awesome. The restaurants are sometimes good. But it's like coming in and just saying, today we have a very specific quest. It makes it a whole new experience. I love you too.
Oh, thank you.
I'm gonna delete the channel and I'm now on the small stuff journey with these two. Bye, everybody. All right, so I'm back with these two. We had such a great send-off, but I'm back with these two. They've never done a lot, but I'm gonna tell you something you have to do. Promise me this, pinky swear. I don't trust you, I trust her, not you. So the pinky swear is this, small stuff. Go over to DCA at sunset. Stand at the corner of Route 66 and Cross Street. That's right across from Flo's. You don't want to stand in front of Flo's, you want to stand across from Flo's. And as the sun sets, there's a little show that they do there where they turn on all the neon, and it is one of the happiest, subtle moments in the park. Can we put that on the small stuff list?
Oh, definitely.
Yes! Yeah. Dude, these guys, what have you been doing? What do you normally do when you come to the park?
We usually just hit like all the main rides, so Space, Thunder, of course Matterhorn.
Ride rippers, turning into Vibe Crushers, turning into Vibe Crushers. Okay, okay.
You gotta try stuff different.
Welcome to the slow side of Disneyland.
Take a step,
just
look
taking
around.
it in, trying all the different, there are so many churros that have come out as well, so we try different snacks. So lots of, literally all the side quests.
I have to go home and edit, and I'm so envious of these two. They make Disneyland sound so fun. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Hey, just awesome people, and ironically, doing the subject matter of today's video. I love it. I absolutely love it. All right, back at task. Damn, I just want to spend the rest of the day with those two and crash their date. So when we come over on the edge of Fantasyland on Matterhorn Way, we can see how that tree really does a lot of heavy lifting to keep Tomorrowland and Main Street USA separated, as we just saw over from on top of the Omnibus. So you can see the Tomorrowland facade that flanks out on the edge of Tomorrowland. Then that tree, perfectly placed, keeps the Astro Orbiter away from conflicting too much with Main Street USA. So you can see the Plaza Inn has just a little bit of a healthy distance from the edge of Tomorrowland. I don't remember these looking so shitty. That's interesting. But you can also tell, to keep things symmetrical, you have this tree here also blocking out the back facade for Buzz Lightyear, but those two trees flanking each side of Tomorrowland sets up an idea that you're going into a new adventure, into a new land, but they also set up perfect sight lines, keeping one time period, one land away from the other. And just what a beautiful, beautiful part of Disneyland. Absolutely love it. So just think, as we're walking all through Tomorrowland, obviously we can't see Main Street USA, but the same could be said in the opposite direction. And I just love those type of design details. I hope you enjoy this too, and maybe the next time, this ride is loud. Maybe the next time you, your friends, your family are standing up on the deck of the Main Street train station, you can point over there and say, hey, you see that little part of Main Street USA over there? That's actually Star Tours you're looking at. And it's been cleverly disguised and hidden so the Main Street feels a little bit more real. Absolutely love it. Over from the top of the monorail platform, this as much as we can see behind Star Tours, Star Trader, all perfectly disguised, placing one experience safely away from another, even though they share the same border and sometimes even the same walls. Come back, Matterhorn. We need you. We miss you. And a ride I'm never doing a video on because it's literally my nightmare fuel. Bricky don't sub, bro. Not at all. But I do get Matterhorny. It's so ironic that I met the small stuff couple today because I was literally going to put in this video that the more creative you are with the parks, the more adventurous you are, the more the parks will reward you back. So meeting a couple that literally have come out here today to do all the things that they never do, that was the moment when I really started loving Disneyland, when I started doing that in my own life, because obviously the attractions are phenomenal. The overall vibe is amazing. But falling in love with the details and coming to the park with a different mission every time, you set the mission, you set the stakes, but it literally makes every day at the park feel like a complete new experience. And I think a lot of people just kind of miss out on that. And for me personally, enjoying the aesthetic of the park and how it's designed, its architecture, its art, its design, like all the tricks of Disney Imagineering, for me, that has become better than the actual rides. And I know I'm blessed that I get to come here all the time because of where I live, but I have gotten to a place where I don't care if I ever ride anything again, because I come here to be a citizen of Disneyland and to keep exploring, to keep going around that corner. And now my new quest is to keep explaining it to you. And I get it. You might only ever come to the park once a year, once every 3 years. You want to see all of your favorite attractions, do all the things that make you love this park that you miss because you can't come here all the time. I totally get it. However, if you do find yourself with just a little bit of extra time, or maybe even blessed to have an extra day in the park, I encourage you to just set up a mission, do something that you've never done before, and find a way to experience the park in a new way all over again. Because just think about it. Because Walt Disney Imagineering knew to decorate the buildings behind me like more of Main Street and not like Tomorrowland or like a generic warehouse, that inspired me to dig deeper in the park and to try to discover something brand new. Friends, from the Main Street train station here on Main Street, USA, thank you so much for watching today's video. Please watch this video over here where I show you the secret building of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge and continue this journey to show you just how creative Walt Disney Imagineering is with the sightlines of Disneyland. Thank you so much for showing up. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope you go on a special mission the next time you visit Disneyland.